Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 10th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Sunday, happy fun day to ya. Hopefully you had a great day, a great weekend. As for me, I had a really good one. We can go ahead and just do a bit of a weekend recap. We can start off at Friday. Friday was solid. We got to work. I had started the day. I already punched in to get me out an hour early, and it was approved. We love to see it. And work was really dead. It was honestly one of those days where, I kind of clock the day. I'm thinking about the day, and I'm thinking about, political events and things like that, the world around me. And maybe this is me being highly speculative. Maybe they're completely unrelated, not correlated. And especially, too, because we do have dead time at my warehouse. This is around that time, so it does track that we should be this slow. But it was so slow. There was just, no cardboard. There was nothing to do. It just seemed like everyone was just there waiting to leave. And, it just has me thinking that, just with everything going up and up and up in price, people aren't buying, the products that we are putting in, into boxes and shipping out. So it's one of those things where it's maybe this is something that really is drying up the work for me in my warehouse. That being said, it's kind of neither here nor fucking there. I just wanted to get out because of how my week has been. That being said, work wasn't too bad. I got some steps in, so that's good, I guess, whatever. And then we got out, got to the gym for a little bit, and I did it up a little bit differently. I kind of just targeted a little bit in terms of the legs. I didn't do any free weights. I didn't do any Smith machine, even though I think I had the opportunity that day to probably do free weights. I was like, nah, I'm gonna switch it up. I just kind of want to do something really kind of short and sweet. And I don't know, I've been on a little bit of a kick where I've been watching Sam Sulik videos, just some of his newer stuff. He's he's in a bulk and he's hitting some big weights, and I'm like, all right, why not? It's kind of just nice to watch on another monitor. And he had a hamstring day, and I was like, okay, I kind of want to hit hamstrings a little bit. So I hit hamstrings and quads, and then I did a little bit of upper because y'all know I got to hit everything. And pretty much got out of there. I think I actually did 15 minutes of cardio too. So and a bit of the old core work. So that was good. That was solid. Then got myself together. And then headed over to my beautiful girlfriend. Yeah. My girlfriend's house. Yes, that was fun. It was nice. So we proceeded to, hang out. But of course, we're going to get some food. So now we're proceeded to hitting the string of food corners for this episode. We got Raymundo's. It was very yummy. This time we decided to get two different small pizzas and kind of split them up a little bit, exchange some slices, and then just got a Caesar salad as well. She got the Hawaiian pizza, and I got a kind of a build your own situation. So just a pepperoni, spicy sausage, and onion, and it was schmecking. Both were good. The next day, we got breakfast at First Watch, which is one of my favorite places to get breakfast, I will say. Though for some reason I always feel embarrassed about it because I know that there are people who like First Watch, they totally dig it. There are people who come to First Watch and they go, oh, this is kind of mid. It's kind of not hitting. So I don't know. I'm always apprehensive about, telling people I really fuck with First Watch. But we went and I got 2 pancakes and an order of the $1 Million Bacon, which, if you've heard me talk about this before, it's good bacon, but it's over fucking price, and I'm pretty sure they're just putting cilantro or chives or whatever the fuck on it and charging an extra $1 and some change. It's just come on, man. But whatever, it's good bacon. I will say something that I had peeped, and I'm not mad about it. But one of my pancakes was like the original little multigrain situation. The other one was a chocolate one, which was not what I asked for. But I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I like a chocolate chip pancake. Zoe, she got a blueberry pancake, and she said she liked that they had like this like kind of it was almost like a blueberry like jam kind of situation or a compote. I don't friggin' know, but it was like its own kind of syrup that you could kind of put on there, plus the syrup that they pass out. So she said she liked that, and she also got the steak and hash, which was very yummy. Had steak, had potatoes, had onions, had peppers. Overall, very yummy. So we enjoyed that. That was good. And then as the night wound on, which also, by the way, throughout the entire weekend, we're just binge watching Survivor. We watched a couple of new episodes of like a RuPaul's season. It's like a tournament situation. I'm like, all right, cool, hell yeah. I'm learning like each format of the RuPaul's Drag Race, I've been clocked too that I say RuPaul's and not Drag Race. You either say apparently you're supposed to say the whole thing or you just say Drag Race, but I can't help myself. I think of it like it's Ripley's Believe It or Not, so I just go Ripley's if I'm gonna condense it. So I don't know. I feel like a goof, but I can't help myself. Anyway, watching a shit ton of Survivor, which is nice. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's a good pastime for me, especially when I was younger. It's just watching reality TV with my loved ones. It's just very fun. It's very nice. But then I was craving a burrito because technically I was supposed to go to Burrito Fest. That's usually what I do. But this year I just wasn't feeling it. This week I just haven't been feeling it. I just really was in like, I want to be cozy and comfy with my girlfriend mode. So that is what I wanted to do, but I still wanted a burrito. So we were, scoping some options, and I think I more or less was like, yeah, I'd be down for some Moe's, because I haven't had Moe's in a very long time. I have a fondness for Moe's. I remember when I was a kid, I went with a homie for like the first time, and I was like, okay, Southwest burritos. All right, let's see what this is about. But essentially, it's just, yeah, man, they got bacon and they got queso. And I'm like, you had me at bacon. So, I always have had a soft spot in my heart for Moe's. And pretty much we both ordered burritos. I got mine was like a steak and barbacoa. And then she got, I think, just a steak. Got like a big old bag of chips. Big old thing of queso. And then we each got like, I got like a spicy salsa. And then we each got the Moe's salsa. Now I liked the Moe's sauce, Zoe didn't, or the Moe's sauce, I should say. I liked it, Zoe didn't. I felt like it was more of it was giving like Southwest salad dressing, I think, from like Wendy's way back, if you've ever had that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really yummy. Granted though, I just remember eating it too. I had gotten like fresh jalapenos in my burrito, and like I really didn't taste it until like the last bite, and I was like, well, that's kind of a little underwhelming in that regard. I did taste the bacon. I enjoyed that. But yeah, overall good, just maybe not as good as I remember back in the day. But hey, the game has changed. It used to be back then there was, I think, like Chipotle, you had Moe's, which was like new, and like Qdoba. And now, there's just so many. Not to mention you go to a sit-down restaurant, that burrito is of its own level and quality. So, the game is very saturated. The burritos, it takes a lot to impress. I get that. But yeah. So I got my burrito fix for the weekend. That felt good. That was nice. Then we get to Sunday. And I had initially wanted this because I had shared it to Zoe, who had been there before, or at least had gotten food from there, but never gotten what I had shared, which were these savory donuts from this place called Parlor. So we go to Parlor, and we got 4 donuts that we split. And also we went to Luckman's Coffee, so we got the usual there. At least I got my usual. I low-key am addicted to this whole Cincinnati mocha situation. Like, if I had remembered to get it at the grocery store when I went today, I would have gotten maybe some cayenne and try to make that shit at home, but I forgot it, so that's neither here nor there. But anyway, these donuts were very interesting. We got the OG pepperoni, which was just like a pepperoni and cheese on the donut. Then there was one that was called the pig and fig, which was essentially like bacon, and I think had some kind of like figgy jam situation. And then there was a Hawaiian barbecue chicken donut, and then a buffalo chicken donut. So we had all four of those, and I gotta say they were very yummy. They're very interesting flavor profiles. Excuse me. The donut in and of itself, I was kind of hard pressed to describe it. I don't know. It was almost like a I don't want to say it was like a croissant kind of vibe, but I don't know. It was good. I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely nice to have a donut hit that way, as opposed to just being so sweet and, I don't know, covered with sprinkles or whatever. My favorite was the pig and the fig. I ate that and immediately was like, ooh, this is exactly what I wanted a maple bacon bar to hit like when I first had it as a kid. But I never liked that combination of things. It was like, this is just sweet, and then you just added bacon on a sweet. It's just not hitting. Whereas this was like, no, it was presented in a way to be savory facing. Like, I don't know, that was good. Good on Parlor for that. I fucks with that. So yeah, then we came back, we chilled. That was pretty much the whole weekend. I headed out to the gym, got there I think around like 6ish or so, and had a pretty good workout. It was solid. Then man, I just love a situation where the gym is damn near empty, and that's what it was today on Sunday. And I'm like, man, I wish every day was gonna be like this, but I know tomorrow it's gonna be just packed with motherfucking people. But so it goes. That's the way she works. That's the way she pumps. But yeah, good gym session. Then I went to the grocery store after that, got all the groceries I needed, then came home. Actually, I went to Walgreens and the gas station to pick up a couple other things, and then got home. Oh, also I gotta, I mean, it's not a devious slick, but given the times that I mentioned earlier, I did get gas for $4 or $3.99 at this new QT gas station that opened up, which was almost nostalgic. I remember as a kid, like the few times I used to travel when I was a kid, being in Missouri too, there was just more QT gas stations. There were none in Cincinnati. So I always remember a certain kind of fondness for being at a QT. But now that it's in my backyard, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I feel even worse because it used to be a soccer field. It used to be a soccer field where people, like kids could play and do like their rec soccer. Now that's gone. Now they gotta go somewhere else. And I'm like, man, that kind of sucks. But yay, gas, $3.99. Awesome. At least for now. Anyway, I got all my stuff. I came home, had my stretch, kind of had my snack throughout while I was doing my research, and here we are, ready to yap about some news. Now, I highly doubt that I'm going to get through all of the news happenings of this weekend. I think I wound up even cutting a story or two just from this episode alone. And I can already feel the fatigue calling. So if I can get a bonus episode, would love that, but probably not. So we're just going to run this and probably call it a day, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. All right. From the BBC, we just hit somebody. Frontier Airlines plane kills runway trespasser at Denver airport. Air traffic control audio captured the moments after a Frontier Airlines plane fatally struck a person who had jumped a perimeter fence onto a runway at Denver International Airport on Friday night. We just hit somebody, the pilot tells the control tower after halting flight 4345's takeoff. We have an engine fire. Smoke could be seen in the Airbus A321's cabin, but Denver Fire Department quickly extinguished the fire. All 224 passengers on board were evacuated by inflatable emergency slides as a matter of precaution, Frontier said. We are deeply saddened by this event, the airline added. 12 passengers aboard the plane reported minor injuries from the incident, the airport said. 5 of the injured passengers were taken to nearby hospitals, according to airport authorities. Their conditions were unclear. The Frontier Airlines flight was taking off for Los Angeles International Airport at around 2300 local time when it hit the individual, authorities said. The unnamed individual had leapt over a perimeter fence 2 minutes before the impact, said the carrier. An air traffic controller had just told the Frontier pilot they were clear for takeoff and wished them a good night. After a short pause, the pilot called back to the tower, according to traffic control audio. We're stopping on the runway, the pilot tells the tower, adding that the plane just hit someone. There was an individual walking across the runway, the pilot says. We have 231 souls on board, he adds, including 7 crew members. The plane was moving at high speed at the time, Transportation Sean Duffy said. And I think that's something that I definitely didn't clock until it happens, even though I know we've covered, a similar situation like this. I think, what was it, either earlier this year or last year? It was earlier this year, yes. But where, a plane on a runway moving at that, once it's hitting the speed, that's worse than a highway situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's very scary, I think, when you think about it in that terms. But obviously no one's supposed to be out there on a runway in any way, shape, or form. So when there is a compromise scenario like this, it's just nightmare waiting to happen. And in this situation, it did become a reality for someone. They add here, commercial airliners typically take off at speeds of 150 and 180 miles per hour. The trespasser is not believed to be an airport employee, Denver International Airport, or DIA said. The airport has examined the fence line and found it to be intact, DIA said. Smoke in the cabin can be seen on photos and videos shared by one of the passengers. They go into more details there, more testimonials from passengers. Obviously a very unfortunate situation. Condolences to the person who lost their lives and the people, who had to, go through that. I can imagine being on the flight and then that happens and then you realize all comes to your understanding oh my God, I was on a plane that ran over someone. So that's a whole fucking thing, I'm sure. But we do actually have almost, I won't say exactly similar, but a similar situation involving airport and a person losing their life. I would connect it in that regard. From the Independent. Spirit Airlines passenger with dementia found dead after staff abandoned him at airport, lawsuit says. Spirit Airlines is accused of abandoning an unaccompanied and disoriented senior citizen with dementia at a Texas airport, after which the man wandered onto a highway and was fatally struck by oncoming traffic, according to a federal lawsuit reviewed by The Independent. In their complaint, Marcos Humberto Vendel Osorio's surviving relatives claim they informed Spirit upon check-in about the 75-year-old's cognitive issues and said he would require assistance deplaning and navigating through the terminal upon his flight's arrival in Houston. Spirit's agent confirmed that assistance would be provided, the complaint contends. However, it goes on, Spirit provided none. When Osorio never appeared in the arrivals area at George Bush Intercontinental Airport, family and friends waiting for him became increasingly concerned and called the police, according to the complaint. Osorio's body was found later that night on the East Tex Freeway, miles from the airport. A walk the complaint estimates would have taken some 2 hours. Mr. Osorio had been struck and killed by multiple vehicles, the complaint states. Commercial airlines do not ordinarily confirm special assistance for a passenger with a known cognitive disability and then provide no assistance whatsoever, the complaint goes on. And this, to me, is I think the most crucial thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if the airline had said, no, we can't provide assistance for whatever reason. I mean, it's this period, not to dog them or clown them. I mean, hey, it was a policy that allowed a lot of people to fucking fly. But it is one of those situations where if you would say no, that's a controversy in and of itself, but at least people know, okay, we're going to have to go above and beyond to make this work, but we can do that. We know what's going to, we'll be very aware. But in this situation, they said, no, we can do this. We have the training to do this. Yes, you're good. You're fine. You're fine to fly on Spirit. And then you go through this whole process and there's none provided. And this man who, potentially only has mild dementia, sure, you can put that in quotations, whatever, is triggered by stress, whatever. I mean, flying, traveling, that's a stressful thing. So it could be prime and very easy to happen. He needs this assistance. You said you're going to provide this assistance, and now it's not there. For me, it's very clear and easy to see culpability. It says that Spirit's failure to provide the promised assistance, leaving a 75-year-old man with dementia to navigate alone from International Gate through customs and out of a major international airport at night, was the direct proximate cause of Mr. Osorio's death. What happened to Osorio is every family's nightmare, attorney Russ Brudner told The Independent. Then we're going to scroll ahead here. They do talk about how U.S. individual carriers are responsible for providing disability assistance at airports. The Air Carrier Access Act requires they do so for passengers who need it, including those with cognitive impairments. Earlier this year, a traveler in a wheelchair sued after a Southwest Airlines employee allegedly abandoned her in a restroom during a stopover at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So yeah, I mean, once again, this is something that is, a part of our legal, DNA or whatever. We're supposed to be taking care of people. I think it's one thing to take that on the chin. Another thing to say, hey, we are going to do our duty and then fail to do it. Like, they literally went through and said, hey, you can facilitate this, right? And they said yes, and they didn't do it. A spokesperson for Spirit Airlines was recently declared bankruptcy and is recently winding down operations, declined to comment on ongoing litigation. Now, this took place June 8th of 2024. A relative checked Osorio in for a flight to Houston from Palmarola. I'm just going to keep fucking this one up. Palmarola International Airport in Comayuga, Honduras, aboard Spirit Airlines 1630, according to the complaint, which was filed April 22nd in Houston federal court. Osorio, who lives in Honduras, was traveling to the U.S. to visit family, Brunner told The Independent. So yeah, obviously this is a very tragic story yet again. It's very sad to see this with a person. You could say, oh, Spirit didn't kill this man per se, but it was the, inaction by Spirit, the agreement to say, hey, we are going to, do our duty by this man and then failing to do it. It is what's culpable in his death, at least how I feel it, how I see it. I don't know. So, trying to call balls and strikes here. So yeah, whether Spirit is belly up and done now, I still think that's something that they have to attend to, deal with. I think there is probably one more part I wanted to read. The Osorio family is now seeking consummatory damages, survival damages, and wrongful death damages, plus interest, for, among other things, mental anguish, loss of companionship, society and support, and funeral and burial expenses. An initial pretrial conference is scheduled for July 17th. So I'm hoping that they get their bag for that. But obviously, yes, very sad. Let's see. I'm going to take a little quick water break. We're going to our next story. From NBC News. At least 3 hikers killed by a volcano eruption on Indonesian island. An explosive eruption of Mount Dukono. It's Dukono. It's got to be Dukono. On a remote Indonesian island, killed 3 hikers, authorities said Friday. About 20 climbers set out Thursday to ascend the nearly 1,355 meter or 4,445 foot for, us Americans, volcano on the island of Halmahera. we're going to say Halmahera. Halmahera sounds right to me. Halmahera, in defiance of safety restrictions, said North Halmahera Police Chief Eccleston Pasaribu. They became stranded when Dukono erupted at 7:41 a.m. local time, spewing a thick ash column that rose about 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles above the summit. The eruption was recorded on seismographs for more than 16 minutes, Indonesia's geological agency said. They were aware that climbing was prohibited as the mountain is the restricted zone due to its high alert status, but insisted on going ahead, Pasaribu said in a television interview. Rescue teams were deployed after receiving an emergency signal from the mountain area. 3 men, 2 Singaporean and 1 Indonesian national, died at the scene. As of Friday afternoon, 14 climbers, including 7 foreign nationals, have been safely evacuated. 5 of those evacuated were reported injured. Rescue teams continue to search for other climbers believed to be attempting to descend. The bodies had not yet been recovered because continued eruptions and dangerous conditions prevented rescue teams from reaching the location. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation has long banned activities within a 2.5-mile radius of Dukono's crater, citing hazards such as volcanic bombs, ashfall, and toxic gases. Officials believe the hikers were inside the restricted zone at the time of the eruption. Whew, that sounds so fucking scary. Like, that just sounds like a whole other planet we're talking about going on inside of this volcanic area, and people are like, yeah, no, it's fine, it's cool, we got a team, we're gonna fucking invest money to do this, to like set this whole hike up, and then risk your whole ass fucking life, and then there's a whole ass eruption, and I guess it just winds up being GG's. Despite warnings on social media and signs at the site, many people remain determined to climb, given the desire to create online content. And that, to me, killed me. That cooked me. People are doing this for content. I'm like, how do you even... And that's where I'm saying money is involved here. That means you had to buy not just equipment for yourself and the people you're going up with, but then also gear to record this shit. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my gosh. And the fact that it wasn't just really I don't know, 3 to 5 people. We're talking like 20 people. Like, yeah, no, I'm down. Let's fucking do that. Let's make a fucking movie, dog. I'm just built so differently from that kind of person. You know what I mean? I'm just not that kind of thrill seeker. I could never be that kind of content creator. So I'm just like, I'm flabbergasted. I'm floored by this. That being said, it's still sad to see, still sorry, to cover these kind of stories where people, are just trying to do some cool exploration, because that is what this is. And, fuck the rules, but they were here in this situation to keep you from dying, because also they do not want to spend and use the resources to save your ass. And they'll charge you for that shit, sure. But they can't even get your body right now. This is a whole fucking disaster for them, on top of the fucking volcano, eruption. Let's see. They have more details about Mount Dukono. It's the Pacific Ring of Fire. Yada blah blah blah. By all means, read this shit if you are very interested in this kind of thing. And I thought it was an interesting story, so I figured, hey, let's just zip on by and cover it. But obviously, we're not going inside. We ain't touching it like that. But anyway, let's move on to our next story. I mean, to me, it might be a bit of a bummer, but it is what it fucking is. From the Associated Press, Virginia Supreme Court strikes down Democrats' redrawn U.S. House maps, giving Republicans a win. The Virginia Supreme Court on Friday struck down a voter-approved Democratic congressional redistricting plan, delivering another major setback to the party in a nationwide battle against Republicans for an edge in this year's midterm elections. The court ruled 4-3 that the state's Democratic-led legislature violated procedural requirements when it placed the constitutional amendment on the ballot to authorize mid-decade redistricting. Voters narrowly approved the amendment on April 21st, but the court's ruling renders the vote meaningless. I always love this. I always love that you have a situation where the people say, this is what we want. Whether this is controversial, whether this is like threading the needle on the legalities here, blah, blah, blah. You put this on the table and people say, hey, this is what we want. Narrow, massive, whatever. And then the powers that be go, man, you know what? The people actually, we can either override them. They're too stupid. They don't understand it. Actually, this is too confusing or whatever. And then they just rule onto themselves and they just say, this is how it's going to fucking be. I love that. I fucking love seeing that. I guess. I guess that's democracy, baby. Yay. So another good one for America, I suppose. This is one of those things where it just starts to tick all the things in favor for Republicans to potentially get enough numbers to actually still keep a majority, depending on how all the redistricting or lack thereof for Democrats wind up continuing to shake out. We've talked about this earlier, so I really don't want to belabor the point. So, I mean, we'll see come elections. It could wind up not mattering as much as people are worrying. I still kind of think of it, if Republicans do manage to keep control of both the House and the Senate, then, like, we just continue to have this crazy shit show that we have. And if they don't, then Democrats are just going to obfuscate it a little bit. They're going to jam up the works a little bit. Obviously, though, Trump has proven that either way, shape, or form, he's not going to listen to Congress. I think that's why he's moved the way he's moved, and so many times just going around Congress, whether or not he has their whole approval or not. He doesn't care. Like, so it feels empty one way or another if I'm really like looking at it. That being said, it just sucks to see it. You know, this is one of the few moments where, you know, I've said this before, where you see Democrats doing the whole playing team sport, so to speak, actually saying, hey, well, we're going to do our own kind of redistricting. And, you know, obviously, you know, I don't fuck with this shit either way. Like, gerrymander is a fucking gerrymander. But, like, hey, at least they're trying to play for the people. At least, you know, that's what you want to see if you're a liberal-minded motherfucking person. And then it just gets fucking shot down. So it's like, cool. I love that. That's great. That's awesome. And the Republicans are going to just keep getting what they want, and it just feels worse and worse and worse and worse, you know? But so it goes. Like I said, kind of looking at the whole thing one way or another, no matter the outcome, Trump is still going to be the fucking president. He's still going to do this fucking bullshit. And we still got to wait till 2028. So I don't know. You know, that being said, the midterms are still getting closer and closer, and I'm sure we're going to have more talk about that as we, you know, mosey in towards, I don't know, November? Yeah, November. There we go. So yeah, anyway, we have one more story that I wanted to cover. We can call this good news, a bit of a hantavirus update, which has been making the rounds. I felt like kind of slowly but surely it's kind of been making a little bit more momentum on social media. People are talking about it, which makes sense. I mean, we've been through a whole ass fucking pandemic, and if it even smells like it, we get a little nervous. We get a little like, hey, what's going on here? Tell me more. But you know, here's some more details, at least a little bit about the people who were on the ship, the Hondius, MV Hondius, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out. Oh, this is a little random. I did try a new beer. I'm not drinking it currently, but I think it was a Mad Tree called Galaxy High or something like that. I picked it up at a Kroger while Zoe and I were like kind of in between. I think it was like post first watch or something. And it was pretty strong. I'll say that. It was like an IPA, which y'all know I fuck with. I fuck with them heavy. And I think it was like 9.5 or something like that on the ABV. And y'all know I'm fucking with that. You know that's good numbers to me. And like I said, it tasted like it. But overall, you know, I will say it was drinkable. And, you know, we're going to finish those out. And then Zoe wanted to try this Rheingeist, like, summer shandy kind of situation. I think it was just called Summer. Kind of giving, like, a lemonade vibe. It was all right. It had this like carbonated lemon taste that I think I didn't really enjoy personally. So it was like kind of like, yeah, they all right. So yeah, a little bit of Bev corner there, close it out there too. Okay, from the BBC. Countries airlift nationals evacuated from virus hit cruise ship. More than 90 of the passengers of a hantavirus stricken cruise ship will have been evacuated and flown home from the Canary Islands by the end of Sunday, Spain has said. 14 Spanish nationals flown from Tenerife to Madrid face mandatory quarantine at a military hospital in the capital. They were followed by French and British nationals who were taken to Paris and Manchester, respectively. Staff involved in the operation in Tenerife pulled white hazmat suits over the evacuees' clothes and hosed them down on the airport tarmac. 3 people have died in the outbreak on the Dutch vessel Envy Hondius, including 2 who were confirmed to have had hantavirus. Flights for Turkish, Irish, and U.S. citizens are also scheduled on Sunday, leaving fewer than 60 passengers still aboard, according to Spain's Health Secretary Javier Padilla. The MV Hondius pulled into the port of Granadilla, or I feel like it's Granadilla. I feel like a fucking idiot if I say it the other way. Before dawn on Sunday, a month after the first of his passenger, I think they meant passengers, died. The sun rose to reveal it had anchored offshore, with military police boats on patrol and major operation unfolding on land to help more than 100 passengers and crew disembark. Let's see. Passengers who could be seen from afar wandering around on deck of the ship or at the windows, all in white medical face masks, as the first evacuations took place on Sunday morning. Several sat socially distanced on the first evacuation boat, filming and taking photos as they approached land, where they were met by officials in white protective suits. Something I kind of noticed too, there were so many signs like in this whole process that I've seen that really harkened back to the pandemic in terms of just like, hey, we're all just gonna quarantine. We're all just gonna, mask up, social distance, like even contact tracing for any of the people who potentially like left because there was a situation when like the first person died. I think the person's wife left the ship and then she winds up dying, if I'm not mistaken. But they were like, hey, no, we definitely need to get a handle on where everyone is, who they've been in contact with. And I'm like, yeah, all of these things are things that, I mean, were tactics that were used by the CDC, worldwide, whatever the fuck. But like, for just a general civilian like myself, you go, oh yeah, you notice these things, you see these things, because that was what we had to do in like 2021, all that shit. So like, we still kind of have that ability to kind of instantly lock in. And I mean, maybe that's a redeeming, hopeful thing. I'm crossing my fingers because let's face it, I don't think that the hantavirus is the next big pandemic. Let's fucking knock on wood there. I don't think this is the one that we really got to worry about, though it is interesting. I don't know in terms of like which strain it was, or whether there might have multiple strains at play here, whether this was one by a rodent, because I don't believe they found one. I don't know yet. But then there's also, I think, like an Andes style strain from like, I think it's South America, which I believe this area was like passing through, or some of the passengers came from, where it can pass person to person. So, I'm not ruling that. I'm no fucking expert. So I don't know. I'm in the weeds now. But needless to say, this was a bit of a scary situation, but I don't think this was big P, big capital P pandemic. Definitely sad that people died. Definitely unfortunate. Interesting, though, to learn about hantavirus and, some of its offshoot strains and stuff like that. But hopefully this is the good part. Hopefully people are going to be able to go home, see their families. They do go through some more numbers here. I kind of wanted to, let me hit this highlighted portion, I think one more spot. Passengers from the UK will be taken to an isolation facility where they will be kept for up to 72 hours. Medics will then assess whether they can isolate at home or at another stable location based on their living arrangements. Let's see here. Let me scroll all the way down. I think the last thing I wanted to hit. I think this is it here. On Friday, a group of port workers gathered outside of a large parliament. No, it's a nosy protest. That's not what I'm looking for. I believe there's still a group of workers and stuff like that who are still on the ship. I might have just skipped that, and that just is what it is. But overall, it does seem like things are they're good. They're getting better. People, are continuing to die from the situation, it seems. So thumbs up for that. So yeah, there's my update there from the MV Hondius situation. And that's it. That's really all I have for today. I try not to shill when it's a Sunday. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.